Hello, friends. It's Jeff. Bad news and good news. The bad news is I took my turntable in to get repaired last Thursday. Got a call from them last Saturday, and they can't find anything wrong with it. The guy played it for a couple of hours, and he couldn't get the problems that I described to him to happen. So I said, okay. He goes, I'll keep checking it. I'll keep trying. And I kind of knew that he wasn't gonna find anything. So this afternoon, this is Monday, I call and they still hadn't found anything. So I just went there and brought it home. Of course, I hook it back up, put a record on, and the first thing that happens is the problem. I was this close to taking a hammer to the whole thing. But I didn't. I went outside, I cooled off, I talked to my beautiful wife, she calmed me down, and I'm feeling better. I did take my receiver apart and I sprayed contact cleaner where the phono inputs go. I don't really know what else to do. There's really nothing much else I can do. So I'm just gonna deal with it for now, and probably come holiday time, I'm hoping Santa will bring me something good to play records on. Another thing to lift me out of my irksome mood, my bad mood, even though I have a sketchy way of playing them, is more records. And I got 3 of them over the weekend. 2 of them just arrived today. So they're it'll always cheer me up. But yeah, for now we're just gonna wing it, and I'm just gonna deal with it. So to the records. So this first one I've been looking for quite a long time. I've lost many an eBay auction for it. It was an album that came out in 1990, right around the time when I said in an earlier video that how CDs took over and vinyl just went by the wayside. And albums from the 90s are tough to find anyway. But I had this album on CD when it first came out. And I was still living at home at that time. And I played it at obviously too high of a volume. And I ended up blowing up a speaker. Because I smelled something burning while I was jamming out to this, and I looked over and there was smoke coming out of the speaker cabinet. So I guess this album has that rare distinction. It's the only time I've ever blown up a speaker listening to music. It's Ragged Glory by Neil Young and Crazy Horse. It's got that classic kind of Shaggy Dog sound that is the best way I can describe Neil and Crazy Horse. Here's the back cover. This is a original pressing, which I'll talk about in a minute. There's something I want to say about that. But yeah, these are tough to come by. I lucked out in an auction. There was very little action on it. I threw a bid in and I ended up winning. So yeah, I was very happy to get this one, Ragged Glory by Neil and Crazy Horse. This is one of his classic albums. It's just worth playing loud, but you got to have the speakers to handle it because it can get pretty distorted if you're not careful. Okay. The other two records that I got are soul slash funk, I guess you can say, records. I love that kind of music. I don't have enough of it in my collection as vinyl. And I came across these two, well actually this one, and this was another case where I think I was the only bidder, or I was the only other bidder, but whatever the case was, I was very happy to get Curtis Live by Curtis Mayfield. It's a live double album. Let me take this out of the sleeve. You can see there we go, that might show up a little bit better. There's the back cover. There's the front. You can't get much better than Curtis Mayfield. He's easily one of the best singers, musicians, producers, instrumentalists of the 70s, and he's got many classic albums, and I was very thrilled to get this one. So Curtis Live. I think this came out in 1971 or 72. I'm not sure, but if my record player cooperates, I'll be very happy to listen to this one. This other one is by an artist whose rep over the years, I think, has become more of a caricature. I'll just show it to you and I'll just talk about it. It's a copy of Superbad by James Brown. These days, I think when people think of James Brown, they think of maybe I Got You, I Feel Good, or maybe Living in America. Musically, I'm sure others may think of him with the jail time and the drugs and the guns and the beatings of wives and stuff, but it's really a shame because he's got quite the back catalog of music, and these are tough to get too. I've had a surprisingly difficult time coming across James Brown albums that I'm able to get. This one was one of a group of his albums that I was watching on eBay, and it was probably, well, I fought over a copy of Hot Pants, lost that one. Had a copy of Sex Machine I was trying to get, lost that one. What else was I looking for? Oh, the Payback. I've been trying to track down a copy of the Payback because my buddy from Tales from the Crate just talked about it in one of his videos, so I wanted to track that one down. Lost that one, but I lucked out and I got this. So I'm happy, at least I got something. The back cover is basically the same as the front. Yeah, when you think of James Brown, pretty much think of everything else but his music. It's really kind of a shame because he's really a great artist. I mean, he's one of the architects of funk music and soul and R&B. He's just, there's so many records that are key or essential listening, and this is one of them. So I'm glad I was able to get it. But yeah, Soul Brother #1 is definitely something I want to add more to my collection. So Superbad is the other record that I got. The other thing I wanted to mention, and I know I've done this in my videos, I see other people do it in theirs. When I refer to a copy of a record as a original pressing or a I'm not trying to, or a reissue, I'm not trying to brag, I'm not trying to show off, I'm not trying to be some kind of a snob about it. It's basically for informational purposes. It's just for those collectors or those people who like to know that sort of thing. For me, I'm not a total slave to first pressings. You know, those have the idea is that first pressings have better sound quality than later reissues, which is probably true in some cases and probably not true in others. But for me, condition is king. If there's a copy of an album that's a first pressing, but it's kind of beat up, maybe it's in VG condition, and then you got a reissue of the same album that's near mint, it's almost flawless, I'm going to go with the reissue. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm some kind of a pressing snob, for lack of a better term. It's just a case of sometimes I do get first pressings of albums and they're in very nice condition, and it's great. I mean, I'm just happy that such an old album like this James Brown and Curtis, those came out in the early 70s, you know, we're talking 40 years, and for them to be in nice shape is just kind of a nice thing. I hope the sound on them is as good as the way they look. I mean, they need to be cleaned, but I'm hoping that the sound, you know, is very enjoyable. So, but if these were reissues, I would be just as happy to have them. It doesn't matter. Like the copy of Are You Experienced that I showed a couple videos back was a reissue from 1986. The only reason I know that is because there was a sticker on the cover, a post-it, saying that it was a reissue from '86, and it's brand new looking. It doesn't even look like it was played. So I'm very happy to have it. It doesn't have to be something from 1967 when it first came out. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because, like I said, condition for me is everything. And whether it's a brand new album or a brand new old album, as long as they're in nice shape and not scratched and not dirty, I'm happy. So I just wanted to mention a little something about that. Okay, almost 13 minutes here. I am going to hopefully be back later this week, maybe with another video. Yeah, my mood hasn't been that great today, but talking with the rest of you and talking about records and music has kind of cheered me up a little. So thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and for liking, subscribing, commenting, all that good stuff. And yeah, you just got to take it as it comes, I guess. So I'll end it here, and I'll talk to you again soon. Peace, everyone.